All right, you finna go ahead and get started. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of a Champ podcast for today's episode 200 of the Life of a Champ podcast. Now, this is one that I've definitely been looking forward to making since I started. It was definitely one of the goals that I knew that I was on the trajectory to hit eventually, and I'm glad that it's here. So, first things I want to say before I go ahead and get it started, make sure you go and follow me on Twitch, TikTok, and on Rumble at Life of a Champ podcast and every single platform. As well as make sure you go ahead and tap in with me on Spotify as well. I just got on there. I'll be uploading every single podcast episode from here on out on there as well. I've done 200 podcasts and I just started recently uploading on Spotify. So I'm not going to go back and upload 200 podcasts. So if you do want to go ahead and tap in with those, they're all going to be on YouTube. So tap in with that for sure. Other than that, and what else? I had one more thing I wanted to say. Yeah. Just make sure you tap in with my YouTube Shorts as well as my YouTube clips. I've been posting here more frequently. So I just recently hit 700 videos total on this channel. So that's definitely an achievement, along with obviously 200 podcasts. First thing I want to say is thank you to everyone who's been a part of this journey, whether you are still supporting or have supported before. I definitely appreciate any and every ounce of support that I've gotten with pursuing my purpose, and I cannot wait to see what this journey has entailed for me for sure. Um, but yeah, definitely super excited, and man, like I said, it's definitely a great achievement. Jaden, appreciate you for stopping by. Um, yeah, so one thing I want to say before I actually get it started is the topic is going to be obviously what I've learned from doing 200 podcast episodes. But first thing I want to say is this, right? I feel like the podcast really hasn't got as much recognition as I believe that it deserves. And obviously, it's only a matter of time before it gets the recognition that it truly deserves. But I believe that these first 200 episodes have played a much bigger role of something much bigger. And I feel like everyone will begin to see this here soon. I'm gonna tell you what that has meant to me personally, right? I do believe that the 200 episodes that I've posted, I feel like they could really truly help any person that any of the advice would apply to. I have spent a lot of time thinking, obviously, about what I talk about in my podcast, but it's helped me develop my mind along the way, and it made me become hyper aware of the individual that I am, the individual that I want to become, and um, yeah, just taking a deeper look into what I truly believe, because I can't just come on here and say whatever and not really truly think about it to see if that is truly aligned with what I believe and what I value, right? So it's just definitely played a huge role for me. This has been my life's work, and it's definitely been super important. And I don't, like I said, I think in due time this will get the recognition that it truly deserves. Um, but one thing I want to say with this as well, which is going to be the main topic of today's episode, this has allowed me to mature quicker and take on more responsibility, as well as make more sacrifices sooner than I would have without the podcast. Um, just because of the simple fact that I know that I'm being watched, I have a different version of pressure, and this is what I call social obligation, or maybe what somebody would have heard as social obligation. And I do believe that this has been the biggest thing that has changed my entire life. This is what I've learned from doing 200 podcasts is the utility of social obligation. I do believe that any person watching this, if they were able to implement that within their life properly, it can drastically change your life. It could help you take on more sacrifices. It could help you take on more responsibility. It could help you mature a lot quicker, and it'll help you make the decisions that you know are truly best for you, and make them with a lot more urgency. Right? I do believe that yeah, it has just been a commitment device for me. Doing the podcast has been a commitment device, and if you don't know what a commitment device is, essentially what it is it's a set decision with your right with your let's just say with your higher self in mind, right? So let's just say, for example, you want to go ahead and lose weight. The second you start to feel really insecure, This is obviously just an example, right? The second you start to feel insecure about the decision, you say, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, right? You make a commitment device to yourself where you say, I'm going to lock in a decision when I feel my higher self is talking, right? And then you stick with that decision because, quite frankly, it was your higher self speaking, right? So it allows you to be really accountable for your actions and for your words, right? And what I did with this is make it a social obligation. So if it's a social obligation, it's bigger than myself. And I do believe that a lot of people need to take what I'm saying with seriousness. Is you need to make any and every goal that you have, any and every life decision that you have, bigger than yourself and bigger than your situation if you can. Involve other people. Tell other people, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be like this. I'm going to have this. And then go out there and get it. Because quite frankly, I do believe that if you just leave it to yourself and don't tell anyone at all, it is much easier for you to fail because now you don't have the pressure that you might need. I feel like it's much easier for you to fail yourself and just to be truly focused in on yourself if you don't have any external pressure. And I'm sure there's some people who say, you know what, I do everything that I say. I don't need any social pressure. I'm just going to go out there and get it done. And that's completely fine. But I do believe that a lot of people, especially within today's society, a lot of people are very much, they can easily fail themselves and then not have any social repercussion for them failing themselves. Right? If you make a goal and you don't accomplish that goal, maybe you'll feel bad for yourself. Maybe you'll eat you alive. Maybe it won't. Right, but I would say probably for the most part, most people don't really feel any type of way. Once they first of all, they either don't make goals or they don't feel guilty enough for not achieving those goals. What a social obligation is going to do is make you feel truly guilty for not being in a line to a person who is a man of their word and a person of character. And I think that is much more of a risk for you not accomplishing your goals as opposed to you potentially feeling guilty for not accomplishing what you set out to accomplish, and obviously not telling anybody about it. It is much easier for you to fail if you're just focused on yourself. But if you tell other people about your pursuit, now you have some work that cannot be strayed away from. Because if it's strayed away from, everyone's going to know that you didn't do what you said you were going to do. And everybody's going to look at you a certain way. And everybody's going to treat you a certain way because you weren't a person of your word. You weren't being a man of character or a woman of character. And right there, that social obligation that you've made is now going to be literally everything in order for you to fit in. And when I mean fit in, I mean being a person who's worthy of even having around. If you're a person that isn't a person of your word, if you're a person that isn't a person of character, no one should want to be around you at all. I truly do not want to be around anyone that's not a person of their word. I do not want to be around anyone who's not a true good character. And neither should you. So the way that you would maintain that image of a good character and a person who is a person of their or a character a man of their word. The way that you would go about this is by doing exactly what you say, setting out a goal, telling people about it, and then making it happen. That is the only way that I believe you're going to feel the most obligation to get it done. To like I say, be a person of your word. This is very, very important. And like I said, if you don't choose to have this, there's going to be social repercussions for your actions. Some people need that push. Some people need that pressure. Me, I think I thrive the most off of that pressure of saying, okay, well, now everybody knows, and if I don't do it, then everybody's going to know that I didn't do it. And to me, that makes me feel terrible. That makes me I would feel super guilty for not doing exactly what I say, for not being a person of character. So if you're going to make a decision, if you're going to make a goal for yourself and you've been proven to have failed yourself before, let everybody know that you're going to do this, and hopefully people will hold you accountable for your actions. I've gotten to the point where if I even eat a certain thing and people see me eating a certain thing, they're going to mention, "Hey, what are you doing? I thought this and this and this." Right? And obviously it can be annoying at times, but quite frankly, it's going to lock you in to a decision. And hopefully if you have people that are going to hold you accountable to that goal, you're going to accomplish that goal, or you're going to pursue that lifestyle based off of the social pressures or the social repercussion that will be if you do not. You need that. Everybody needs that, I believe. And from doing 200 podcasts, it's been something that has been, um, let's just say, progressed a lot faster than what I could have ever imagined. I have made sacrifices much quicker than I would if I never had a podcast, if I didn't have that social pressure. I've made sacrifices, I've taken on more responsibility, I've made commitments that I never thought I would make this early on in my journey. And the only thing I can really give thanks to is the social obligation that I've made to other people. I've said, hey, I'm going to be this way. I would like to do this. And I've had people that were going to hold me accountable to what I had set out for. That has definitely been the biggest game changer that I've ever experienced. And when people tell me certain things, I want to hold them accountable as much as I possibly can, because I would want somebody to hold me accountable as much as they can. So if you see somebody within your life who says, hey, I'm going to pursue this goal, you need to be the person that's going to hold them accountable. To say, hey, it does not look like you're being a person of your word. You're not being a man of character by you not sticking by with what you say. I take that very, very seriously. And since doing the podcast, I have a lot of pressure on myself, so I apply that same type of pressure on other people. When you tell me something, perfectly fine. Just know I'm gonna hold you accountable, because that is what your best self is going to want. Your best self is going to want people who are going to hold you accountable to what you say you're going to do. And I do believe that by doing this, you are essentially, when you set up your life situation for this, and like I said, this can be implemented within any and every single goal that you go ahead and pursue, right? You tell people about it and you go ahead and make it happen, right? I feel like it could be using your ego to your advantage, right? There's a lot of people whose egos would be not necessarily used to their advantage. And I do believe by you doing this, by you putting up your social reputation up for grabs, by you making a commitment to the people, this is much bigger than a decision. This is your social reputation. This is the way that people are going to view you. Now it is much bigger. The stakes are much bigger. And if you like I said, for me, I'll speak on myself, right? My ego is to be the best person that I can be. That's my ego. My ego is speaking when I need to be a man of my word. My ego is speaking when I need to be a person of character. And I use that to my advantage. I make decisions and make commitments, take on more responsibility, and make sacrifices based off of that ego. That is how I use my ego to my advantage. That is what I would recommend for you. Like I said, in any and every habit that you have, there is going to be an implementation that can be used for social obligation. But I want to know what you guys think about this. I'm gonna respond to a few comments. Anthony, appreciate for tapping in, man. He's been definitely a huge motivator within all of this. I appreciate you. He's been on like 20 something podcasts, so love you to death, my brother. GDP, appreciate for tapping in as well. Thank you. I appreciate your support. Checking in for the 200th podcast. Appreciate that very, very much. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think about this idea. And I'm sure the people watching, I'm sure you've seen something, at least maybe within my personal life, where you can kind of see that I made a social obligation to myself. I have made something bigger than myself. I have made everybody a part of my goal. And by doing this, it puts a pressure on you. And here's the thing: people should feel pressure. You should feel pressure within any and every goal that you have. You should feel pressure to go ahead and accomplish that goal. Because if not, you're gonna stay average. You're gonna stay in a less than desirable state. You're gonna stay with your lower self winning, and that is not. Nobody wants their lower self to win at the end of the day. So with that being said, make a commitment. Make a commitment not only to yourself, but to the people that you love, to the people whose opinion would truly matter. That's what matters to me. So when I bring other people along when I bring people along for the journey of my goal by letting them know, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Hold me accountable. Do not let me steer off path. Or like I said, or I make a big decision in life. I make a commitment. This is going to be the decision that I make, and no matter how I feel, this is the decision that I made. If you're able to do that for certain things, you're going to be much better off. It's going to save you from a lot more problems. Because the worst problem that you possibly can have is to feel guilty for you not accomplishing the goals that you set out for, or for you not living the lifestyle that you had set out for, or for not taking on more responsibility, or for being unable to make certain sacrifices. Those feelings are worse than the social obligation that you will feel to do what is best for you. Even though it might be uncomfortable, even though there might be days where you don't feel like doing it, as long as it's the best for you, that is the decision you should make. Regardless of how you feel, regardless, maybe I don't want to do this, it doesn't matter, quite frankly. You're going to do it anyways. That is what a person of character would do. That is what a man of their word would do. And that is very, very important. There needs to be a resurgence of that value within society. And if society had this and placed more value on this, I feel like a lot more people would just be better people. They would feel better about themselves. So, like I said, I want to know your guys' thoughts on this. Social obligation, that has been the biggest thing that that has been the most important lesson that I've learned throughout this journey. Like I said, it has helped me advance a lot quicker in this game of life. It has allowed me to take on responsibilities, make commitments, make sacrifices, because I know what is at stake. I know what I'm trying to achieve, and I know what's in my way, more importantly. And I do believe that it is a lot of pressure. It is a lot of responsibility, but quite frankly, it shined a light. By having social obligation, it shines a light onto all your weaknesses. It shines a light onto all your vulnerabilities. And if you're able to have those things clearly exposed, now you know where to act. Now you know, okay, this is what I lack in the most. This is what I'm struggling with currently. How can I have a social obligation that's going to lock me into being a person who says exactly what they're going to do, who's going to pursue this certain goal? The moment you're able to do that, you have a lot more at stake now. That's all. That's pretty much what I have to say, man. It's just you just have a lot more at stake. Now you have to do it. You can't. There's no slacking off. There's no letting yourself down. Because here's the thing: at the end of the day, whether you want to do this social obligation thing or not, you're gonna let people down anyways. If you don't do what you say you're going to do, if you're not gonna be a man of character, if you're not gonna accomplish the goals that you set out for, you're letting everybody down anyways. It doesn't matter here's the thing: you just don't know that you're letting everybody down. It's not. It's that harsh realization of life, right? I'm just letting you know this right now. If you're a person watching this, and you're not doing what you set out to do, if you say, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then you never do it, regardless if you tell anybody or not, you're letting them down. You're not being the best that you could be, and everyone around you, everyone you love, deserves the best version of you. And if you cannot give that to them, and you can't even give that to yourself, what are you doing? Do more. Be better. And it's as simple as that. And I know people will feel some type of way about this, but at the end of the day, it's like, what is it all for at the end of the day? Why are you wasting your time? You have one life and you're not treating it with enough seriousness. I'm not saying don't have a good time. I'm not even saying that either. I'm saying there's things that are better than having a good time. It's like making your people proud. That making people proud of you is 100 times better feeling than just pursuing comfort or doing whatever you want to do. There's much more to life than doing what you want to do. It doesn't matter. Make people proud. And if you're a person that has been making people proud, by you not doing what you're saying you're going to go ahead and do, it's not respectable. At the end of the day, people are not going to respect you as much as they possibly can at the end of the day. So like I said, make it something bigger than yourself. And even if you don't make it bigger than yourself, it's still bigger than yourself. You're just not willing to look at it that way. And that's my approach with the way that I approach life is if I'm not living up to my potential, I'm letting everyone else down. Because I know what I can be. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I'm going to do. And if I'm not living a lifestyle that would suggest that trajectory, automatically I gotta reframe something, because quite frankly, I'm not letting everybody down. I have no choice. I have no choice but to show everybody a new way. I have no other choice. If you take that mindset, you're going to be in a much better position. That's for damn sure. With doing this podcast, with doing 200 podcasts, man, it has allowed me to curate and implement a good foundation of morals and values. Some of what I have had voiced today, and these are what I believe to be somewhat essential to the foundation that everyone needs, that everyone should live by. They're worthy of having. Being a man of your word, being a person who takes on more responsibility, being a person who's willing to make sacrifices, being a person who's willing to accept the responsibility of their potential, being a person who's going to be a good person of character. These are all things that are going to be, they need to be defined for everybody. I've defined them so clearly for myself that the second I even begin to fall off, I can't. I just can't. I don't allow myself to. It's as simple as that. So yeah, there's just no way. I'm not living with the guilt. If you're watching this, I hope you're not living with guilt. Living with guilt is one of the worst feelings that you could ever feel. And like I said, the one way to avoid that is just by doing what you know you need to do at the end of the day, right? But allowing yourself an actual consequence to your inaction. Not a consequence to your actions, a consequence to your inactions. That is most important. Because there's always going to be consequences, whether you do what you say you're going to do or whether you don't. There's always going to be a consequence. There's going to be a much harsher consequence for you not doing what you say you're going to do. That's for damn sure. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that, but people don't take it with seriousness. That's why I feel like mentioning it, because it's like, y'all know what y'all got to do, man. At the end of the day, y'all should know your weaknesses. Y'all know what you need to do, man. It's a matter of doing it. And like I said, I'm not even saying this to try to motivate anybody. If you get motivated by this, fantastic. I'm not saying this for people to get motivated. I'm saying, dude, there is more at stake out here, man. This is real life out here, man. This is real life, man. Treat it like it's real life. And like I said, if you're not pursuing what you say, if you're not pursuing what you do, what you need to do, I hope you're feeling guilty for not doing it. I hope you live with that guilt. And I hope that guilt allows you to change. Because if it doesn't, if you become numb to guilt, this is one of the worst existences that ever can be lived. If you failed your own word and you failed other people for so long that you begin to become numb to the guilt that you should feel, that is how I know you've fallen off completely at the end of the day. Don't become numb to this guilt. This guilt should pain you into action for your inaction, for your inability to take on more responsibility, for your inability to make sacrifices, for your inability to not be a man of your word. I do believe that internal progress not only should be made without external sources, but more importantly, should be made by external sources that make you hold on to what you deem to be the most valuable. The most valuable is going to be what you set out to do, what your higher self would say, how your higher self would guide you. That should be placed at the top of your value hierarchy. Out of everything that you value, living up to your potential must be up there of the things in which you value. And if you're not living by that, like I said, I need you to feel guilty, because, man, I've done this. It has changed my life completely. I have made decisions so much quicker, man. Doing this podcast, I can't just be on. I just can't be on here spitting just nonsense. I can't. I can't afford it. Why? Because I've made it bigger than myself. I have social repercussion for not doing what I say. What I preach. Even more importantly, right? If I come up here and act a fraud, you're going to be able to feel it. You're going to be able to feel that energy. I can't do that. I just can't do that. So if you are a person right now who has goals, who has not achieved as much success or has accomplished as many goals as you know that you're capable of, use social obligation. Let everybody know I'm going to pursue this goal. I need people. And here's the thing, if you have to do this, this would be fine as well, right? Ask for accountability. Have people in your life that are going to hold you accountable. Say, hey, I want to stop doing this. Everyone, I need you, and you to hold me accountable to make sure that I'm not doing this. Because here's the thing, like I said, if you make a big deal about it, man, if they see you fall off, let's just say they try to check you for your behavior, right? And you say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyways. Now look how dumb you look for doing that. Oh, you're not doing that? You said you were gonna do it, you're not doing it? Oh, come on, man. No, they're not gonna be able to take you serious anymore, brother. So take it with seriousness. Make it bigger than yourself, right? It's easy to fail yourself. I have to repeat this, right? Because I've done this. I've tried to live this way for myself, and it has not given me quick enough results. I've tried to pursue goals and have failed myself. I'm just like everybody else, man. I set out to do something. I didn't tell anybody, and I failed myself. That feeling isn't good. It's never good. It's never good to fail yourself. But the second that I stopped failing myself as much is when I let everybody know this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to do it. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm stopping. This is what I'm starting. This is who I am. This is not who I am. Be clear with these things. Be very decisive with these things. And hopefully it'll change your life. It has definitely changed mine. I'm 200 podcasts deep, and like I said, there's plenty of game in all of the podcasts that I've talked on. Plenty of game, right? This is the start of season 3 of the Life of a Champ podcast, and I'm so glad to have started it this way, to have made this much progress, to have made the sacrifices, right? I've taken on responsibility. I've made commitments to myself and to other people that have changed the trajectory of my life. And if I didn't make these decisions quicker, I don't know where I would be. I don't know where I'd be right now. I definitely don't know where I would be in 5 years if I didn't make some of the decisions that I have made, not only within this year, but within the previous 2 years with doing this podcast. I've done this podcast for almost 4 years now, and it has been one of the most pivotal, life-changing moments, time and time again, by knowing that I need to take the next step and just taking the next step, which is something that I will get into here in a minute. So, 200 episodes. After this, I'll be doing a 2-week break, and I'll be back in 2 weeks. With that being said, I would like to let everybody know. I haven't 100% figured this out yet, but I'm going to get it done because I'm letting everybody know now. I'm going to be doing one-on-one coaching. So if you want extra accountability, and if you want a community of people who are also willing to hold you accountable, that is going to be something that I'm doing here soon. By the end of this month, I will have that up and running. So anybody who wants extra coaching, anybody who wants extra accountability, I'll be here to help you guys out. If you know me personally and there's a goal that you want, you already know I'm holding you accountable already anyways. If you want me to be on your ass even more, let me know for damn sure. But I do believe everybody needs to hold everybody accountable to the person that they want to go ahead and be. I have been the biggest critic. I've used social obligation like I had mentioned earlier, but I'm also such a big critic of myself that I can't fail. I can't fail because I'd feel too fucking guilty, dude. I can't stand feeling guilty, dude. I just can't stand it. I did it for so long with not letting people know my goals, and I'm sick of that feeling. I can't handle that feeling anymore, man. So, like I said, if you wanna leave that feeling of guilt, bring other people along onto this journey with you. and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to stop doing. And then take action, man. And hopefully you have good enough people around you that are going to say, hey, man, you said you were going to do this. You need to do this. Hey, man, you said you were going to stop doing this. You need to stop doing that, man. Those are the good people in your life. Obviously, they're going to be the temporary assholes that, upset you. But at the same time, it's like this, right? You need those people. I'm one of those people for everyone in my personal life. Almost too much for a lot of people to even handle. But at the end of the day, if nobody's going to do it, then nobody's going to do it. Because like I said, people are much more capable of failing themselves. So don't fail yourself and don't fail other people. Simple as that, man. But yeah, 200 episodes. Fantastic, man. I'm proud. I'm proud of myself. Like I said, I'm going to enjoy this for 2 weeks. And then I'll be back. I do believe that my next podcast episode 201, will be my most personal podcast that I've ever made. I'm in the process and have been in the process of planning that one out. I'm going to be letting it all on the line. I'm going to be giving you all of the information of my story on that podcast. So if you're curious about my story, and I would say there's a lot of people in my personal life that I talk to on a daily basis who don't even know how I would even tell my story or how I'd even shape my story. And I do believe it's going to be one that I think I'm going to be the most proud of. And obviously this is one I'm going to be very, very proud of as well. Obviously episode 200, that's a big achievement. Most podcasts that ever existed have never touched 200. There's only probably, I would probably guess maybe about like 10,000 podcasts, if that, have reached actually 200. So most podcasts that start, they never get to 200. They just stop. We don't stop around here, man. We don't stop around here. You already know what time it is, fellas. But yes, 201. Next one after 2 weeks. Just know that's going to be probably my most personal podcast. Like I said, I want to let it out all on the line. Tell you my story. Tell you where I came from. Tell you what my struggles were. And how I have overcame all of those things. And other than that, I'll leave you guys off. No, actually, I'll do this. This was episode 200 of the Life of a Champ podcast. The start of season 3. And I'll leave you guys off with the podcast motto. Fellas out here, man, we don't just work around here, man. We outwork. So make sure you outwork at these motherfuckers, because you know that I am and you know that everyone else around me is, man. They have no other choice, man. I'm holding them accountable. They got that social obligation that I was talking about. I'll be doing more live streams here soon, so if there's a specific video or creator that you want me to go ahead and react to, let me know. And I appreciate everyone for their time and attention. Thank you for your support, and I will continue to be on this path. As you know, it is going to be the best for me. Is there anything else I want to say? Hell of a run, man. Hell of a run. Had to end the season off last episode. If you need to check that one out, for sure. Ended season 2 off of the Life of a Champ podcast 199. Good one with the boys. Tap in with that one for sure. But other than that, yeah, y'all have a good night, man. Tap in with the next podcast on 2 weeks from now would be the 25th. Tap in with that one for sure. And yeah, like I said, I'll work these motherfuckers, man. You already know what time it is, man. Y'all have a good night, man.